Hello and welcome to SoBricks. I'm Adam and this is SoBricks. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be finally taking a look at the Lego Star Wars Ahsoka Tano's T-6 Jedi Shuttle set. This is set number 75362. It has 599 pieces, and I paid $56 for this. I think this retailed for like 80 or something like that. And I was not thrilled about the price. It does look to have some good figures, maybe ones that are only available in this set, especially in this configuration, or like there's maybe other versions of Sabine Wren, but not this exact one. And I just felt like the $80 was quite a bit for what this looked like. I don't have the older version of this ship, the T-6, so I can't compare that to it, but either way, $56, a lot closer in price per piece, and is a really good sale. That's 30% off, so take $24 off of 80 and we get down to 56. At 20% off, we're looking at 64 or something like that. That's probably not terrible, but I'm certainly happy I was able to get this at the price that I did, and I'm excited to take a look at this. So in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. While I build, I'll speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego Star Wars Ahsoka Tano's T-6 Jedi Shuttle set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps a lot if you want to support the channel. Membership, supers, and thanks, Patreon, buy me a coffee, all of that good stuff. It helps a lot, means a lot to me, so thank you very much. And then I want to talk about the build. So it's actually been a long time since I've built this. We're starting with the kind of central sort of bay cargo fuselage type thing, and this has some fantastic building in it. I really like how these panels come together. It's super dense and symmetrical, and the angles are good, very little gapping, which is really nice. There's just overall for the top and the bottom of this, I found this to be sort of the best part of the build. There's like Technic stuff used for structure that gets covered up, so there's like a lot of good detail. There's a little bit of greebling detail, and then it also does allow for the kind of central function of this type of ship to be achieved. So you can see those like bigger kind of gear like pieces there, and those are used to great effect in this. There's a bunch of added details of the thrusters kind of on the back, which end up hiding one of the Technic beams that is used for structure, which is really, really nice. Nicely done. We have some kind of landing gear that's done here that I think is implemented well. And these panels are, similar to the kind of panels that were on the top sort of fin there. And we can add on what is going to be the central kind of mechanism that allows for the wings to rotate around this kind of central core chassis, fuselage, cargo bay, whatever. And then we can start working on the wings. So my sticker sheet that came in the box is pretty not great. It's very wrinkled, folded. Some of the stickers were kind of coming off, and I did request that Lego, I asked them if they would send me a replacement sticker sheet, which they did, so I didn't put the stickers on until far later after I built this. The stickers, there's not that many of them. They're sort of incidental, and it probably could look fine without them, but just so you know, I'm not going to put the stickers on right here. I do put them on before reviewing the set. Now we're building these wing assemblies, and these are essentially built as two separate parts, but they come together in a really nice way, and then in the final build they function ultimately as one kind of complete unit, and that's very nicely done, I think. Way more stable than I thought it was going to be, and some good stuff, good genuine building in there. And then we build sort of the cockpit area, so we build up the seat. This is done nicely. The Ahsoka sits in there really well, which I do show in the full review. It's pretty small, but it gets the job done. Not room for other characters or anything, but that's still okay, so I like that. And then I kind of have a little bit of a jump cut and a break, and I can put the stickers on here, which I did like half a year later, maybe 6 months later, or maybe longer. So I'll get those on there, and that's it. So now on to my review for this set. Okay, so that is the Lego Star Wars Ahsoka Tano's T-6 Jedi Shuttle set. It has been a long time since I built this, and I just now put these stickers on it. The sticker sheet that I got in the box it was like all bent, and I didn't think it was going to turn out that well. I asked Lego to send me a replacement of the sticker sheet, which they did do, and then it's just been sitting waiting to be reviewed for quite some time, and I finally decided to do that. I built this even before I did the advent calendar stuff, so we're looking at like 6 months since I built this, so it's been some time, and now I'm going to get into it. So we will do that. I actually know that this was represented in the advent calendars, and I made mention that I would be talking about this set and just never did, and now I am, which is fine. I have some distance here and coming back to it, and there are things that are really great and things that maybe are less great. But the first thing we will look at is the minifigures, because you get 4 minifigures, and that was a big thing in the intro that I mentioned, and I know that a lot of other people were looking forward to getting these minifigures here. The first one is Ahsoka Tano. So we have Ahsoka here. This was for the Ahsoka show, and so this character was in a lot of different sets. We do have the 2 lightsabers here, which is great to see. Special kind of molded hair piece. It's sort of rubbery there, so you can see these, I don't know, they're maybe not like tentacles, or maybe they are, but it's a little bit of more of that like flexible Lego material there. The production work on this is really quite good, which is nice to see. So the stripes are all good. Same over here. Same for the details kind of on the headband there. I believe this character also came in the advent calendar, and I don't know if there was any difference for this one. So kind of unique. The face printing is great. The white looks pretty good on the orange. There's an alternate face, a little angrier there, so we can see that. This character does have arm printing, which is phenomenal to see. Same on the other side. Torso printing is relatively basic, kind of monochromatic, but has some nice details with some fine lines kind of on these sections and the sort of belt area as well in the midsection there, but sort of has kind of a Jedi robe look to it. There is printing on the midsection, and there is printing on the legs all the way down to the feet, which is great. A lot of this is done on kind of that dark metallic gray, which I think is a nice color, but then the like flesh tone for Ahsoka is a little bit different. Looking at the back of the torso, we can see we kind of have these open shoulder blades here. The printing is so because it's so close to the arms, which is that molded plastic color, there is a little bit of a difference there. The ones for the kind of shoulder on the back of the torso are noticeably darker, and they have that kind of metallic color coming through a little bit there, so not as good there, but that is okay. And overall, this is a really quality minifigure. I think arm printing is important for this character. I'm glad it's represented here. I think the headpiece is done well. The face, like the white printing on the face, I think is pretty good. So overall, I'm very happy with this. The next character we will look at is Sabine Wren. Now, I think there have been a couple different versions of this character, and I don't remember if one came in the calendar or not. This is a little different. I know that there have been different versions of this character. They do have a lightsaber there, different color. They have the really nice, I think blue, but maybe purple hair here. So this is that version. They also have, you know, a helmet, which is Sabine's helmet. It does have the antenna there, so it has the holes on the side. And there's like special printing for the marking for Sabine kind of up on the top there. Production work is pretty good. Otherwise, it looks similar to a Mandalorian helmet, but there is a little bit of that personalization there, which is great to see. So good that we get the helmet version and the hair version there without. We do have an alternate face, a little bit of an angrier face, maybe engaged in battle. This one, you know, kind of a raised eyebrow, a bit of a smirk. Looking at the torso printing here, I really like this torso. I like the pops of color. That feels really nice. The metallics in here are good. Lots of good details like wear and tear on some of the armor there. Belt in the middle and the lower portion of the torso. We do have printing on the midsection and then printing on the legs all the way down here. A little bit of like asymmetry in there, which is nice. This character, no printing on the arms, back of the torso. Again, really good. There's good detail, good graphic design for those, and the production work is pretty good. So I am happy to get this character here. And, you know, it's always good for LEGO to include a helmet and a hairpiece for characters when applicable. It's that is the way to do it. The next one here, now this one's really interesting. This is Professor Huang. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I really like this character, and I like this minifigure a great deal. So really good stuff here. This is a special head printing, so you could, or head molding actually. So the kind of ear areas come out a little bit. The head is longer, drops down in the front. We got kind of the interesting texture at the rear, and then the printing is really good as well, including some like very precise and tiny printing. So the different little like notches on here, same for that dot there, the one there, the printing right on that. Printing for the eye areas and kind of on the cheeks as well is all done very precise. It seems like it's all in the right spot, which is very good, and LEGO doesn't always get that right, so I think that is very nicely done. This is a great headpiece. Looking at the torso, we have kind of a droid looking bit here, so we have some exposed wires down there, and then kind of their main sort of chest panel, stomach area, all throughout here. Again, really great detail, precise, fine lines, like tiny, thin lines. There's some different line thickness. There's some different colors going on in there, which is really great. No printing for the midsection of this one, but then printing on the legs. They're not dual molded legs. They just have the printing kind of up on the top for that different color there, but then printing kind of in the middle and down onto the feet. Nothing on the arms. Back of the torso, this is interesting because this is a printed tile here. Again, it's a 1x1 square tile. It is got some really fine detail for this kind of backpack type thing. We can take that off. It's on one of those minifigure accessory kind of bracket pieces, and then looking at the back underneath that, we get sort of the back of the torso as well as those exposed kind of mechanical elements, wires, and different things in there that we might see on a character like this. So I think this is great. This is probably my favorite one out of this set, and I'm really impressed here. It's maybe not the most difficult to produce, but they did a good job, and I'm glad that mine turned out really well. So I like that a lot. And then the last one here is Merrick or Maroc or something. This is pretty cool as well. So They have some special kind of armor, almost what looks like a knight's kind of helmet here with the kind of grate at the front. So that's a special helmet there. Underneath that, they just have the black minifigure head. That's actually what they used to do for like the Mandalorian too, before they had a face there. They have this really awesome armor piece that's kind of a shoulder armor piece. It's got like a clip at the back, but then it has printing on the front. So we can see that there, which is really nicely done. If I take that off, actually there's a kind of a similar print underneath on the torso, so you can see that kind of essentially like a T right there in the center where this covers up. So this flows between this really nice. It's way better doing it like this than just having this not printed and having that being underneath. I think they should do this more often. This flows really good, makes it feel complete, makes it feel three-dimensional, and the production work is good. Again, underneath there, then we get some different details in here. Overall, very detailed torso, even without the kind of printed armor piece. No printing on the midsection here, but we do have a lot of printing on the legs. Again, they're not dual molded, but we do have kind of the section up around the closer to the waist area there, and then we have printing there and there. Nothing on the arms. Back of the torso is pretty straightforward, pretty basic. There is a lot of like dirt and rust and kind of like wear and tear on this, which is nice. There's actually a lot of that on the front too, but it's a little bit hard to see in this light on this camera from this distance, but close up there's like a lot of really good detail on here. The back, just because there's not a ton of surface area, the back of the armor, it just has that clip. It doesn't have any printing there, but when this is on there, you actually do see a good amount of the back of the torso. Not everything. There's still kind of that T shape that gets covered up a little bit here, but we see a lot of that, which is really good. I think this is a great figure. Of course, they come with an accessory, which is the kind of special dual blade kind of lightsaber with the kind of rounded hilt or whatever there. And maybe it's not technically a lightsaber, maybe it is, whatever. I think I've seen these in like the Inquisitor scythe and or scythe or whatever, and other stuff like that. So actually, all in all, like a really good selection of minifigures, really quality prints, very detailed. Got the accessories, got like special accessories with special prints there. That's for like Ahsoka with the head, which I guess maybe we don't count, or with the hair element. The Sabine Wren helmet, Professor Huang's like back bling there, and then the printing for the armor for Merrick here. So I think that's like very good. Not something that always happens, but is great that it's here. I don't know how much that translates to the suggested retail price of this Lego set, but that may be the case. Also, we do have these blasters. I think these go with Sabine Wren here, so another accessory that I failed to show when we were talking about that character. I want to say, they can go with any character, I suppose, but like canonically and then in the set when putting the figures together, I believe these are with that character. So we'll do that. I'm just kind of sorting out some of these extra pieces over here because I know we're going to talk about those eventually. And then the rest of the build is this T-6 Jedi Shuttle. Now, they have done a version of a T-6 before. I don't know how many years ago. And this is, I think, only the second time it's been in Lego form. I think this one's quite a bit. I think it's bigger. I think the piece count is maybe a little bit more. This is a really interesting shuttle, a really interesting ship here for a bunch of reasons. But overall, the shape is very cool. It's kind of this crescent or half circle type shape there. We have the cockpit up front, kind of these big wing sections, and sort of a fuselage cargo area in the center. The big thing about this, and you can see it on the box art actually, is that it has sort of a different flying mode or a different look there. And that is because this whole like wing section or the kind of center section rotates depending on your perspective. So on the box, it's shown flown like this. So it's actually like that, and we see it from the side here. So this freely rotates here, or if you'd rather think about it a different way, the wings freely rotate around that center, which is very, very cool. You can kind of get that at whatever space there, and that's a really unique concept for vehicles within Star Wars. I think it's maybe not that unique, but there are other ships that have like one form and then a different form, or like the Jango Fett, or like what used to be called the Slave One or whatever. You could fly like one way but then would fly a different way, but would land a certain way and stuff like that. This is maybe a little bit more advanced than that, but unique in that way. Building this because of that is really, really interesting. You kind of build it in 4 main sections, and then those are broken down into other sections. So I'm kind of calling the back sort of main core, sort of fuselage area, one section. And then I'm kind of calling each of the wings here their own section, even though ultimately these are connected. And then sort of the cockpit up at the front. And we will kind of get into this. So I believe you build this section first, and it's very unique. So it's kind of got a plus sign like shape here. So we have like the vertical line and the horizontal line. Looking at the back, we have some different thrusters here going on, and there's some really interesting building techniques within this. Of course, you can see we use some Technic bricks. There is some Technic in here, including some Technic beams that are actually hidden really, really well. You can see just the end of one right there, but because we have all those thrusters over it, you don't see that beam. It doesn't stick out very much at all. There's another one on the front which is essentially invisible. Like we don't see that in the slightest. You'd have to like really look underneath there to see that. This is designed pretty much all the way around. So as I rotate this center bit here, there's no part of the back sort of cargo fuselage, whatever, that is not designed and not built up. There is slightly some difference in detail. So I'm calling this the top. It has the sticker there. There are a couple stickers in this set. I put those on way after I built this. So we have the top and the bottom, which, there's like a mirroring here in a lot of it. So it's sort of symmetrical. The bottom does resemble a lot of the general shapes there, but doesn't have the sticker. There's like this really nice greebling detail in there, which is great. That's not present as much on the bottom. The kind of panels themselves here that clip in to kind of get this nice angle tapered out, and also to get that symmetry there. Those are done very similarly. So the ones up here look kind of similar all 4 around, and that's very, very good. And then they're connected in a really nice way. The bottom ones, they're like clipped in. They don't have a ton of like movement, very minimal gapping. Even on the back, like I would expect some gapping kind of in here where that angle creates something, but I don't see it. Same for the front. We've just filled in the gaps in a really nice way with, essentially darkness, but it works really, really well. So this feels very complete, very compact. A lot of building goes into this. And there's some cool stuff here. So besides being able to rotate, we obviously have this attached to the canopy there. So that rotates with it. So we have some stuff going through the wings, so that those are like separate kind of things ultimately attached, which is really great. There is some storage in this, which I really appreciate. Not a ton. One of the things this lacks is room for characters for the minifigures that are in this set, but on these top 2 panels we can open them up. You can't open them up crazy far. Just to see what that looks like, we do get stopped, prevented from opening them up even wider by some of the details up here, but there is some good stuff in there and room for things. So we have a wrench over here. That's maybe what Professor Huang would be using there, and there's kind of a little bit of cargo space. On the other side, we we have more cargo space, but it's actually designed to hold stuff. It's designed to hold, you know, the blasters in there. It's also designed to hold both of like Ahsoka's lightsabers in there, which I really appreciate. They don't get clipped in, but they're sort of designed to be like that. We can close that up. I'm not worried about those. They may move around a little bit, but there's just frankly not that much space for them. So even you don't really hear them too much, just a little bit, and it closes up, no problem. It feels great. Have access to those in there, pretty easily slide them out, even for someone with big hands like I have. That was really nice. While we're here, I'll just point out these stickers. These are big stickers on the wing section. Those aren't a big panel piece. It's sort of a, you know, a 6x12 or whatever that those come out to be. And most of it is tile, but it does have studs kind of on 3 of the edges. So then we have stickers put on there. I put those on after this was already built. In the instructions, you would put those stickers on before that is built, and then you might not see, you could probably do it in a way such that you don't see the little bit of gray gap between these on either side. Because I did this afterwards, that was a little bit difficult. The ones on the side there and over there, and there's just 2 other ones, and those are here and here. Those are the same sticker on the same piece. When it's in this configuration, those aren't going to be seen really at all, but when it's flying in this configuration, we would see them from the side, which is really nice. It's a shame you do see a little bit of the blue there. Again, you don't see that when it's like this, but you do see that when it's on its side like that. Some other kind of nice details here. I just really, I think they did a great job with this whole assembly for the back. It comes together nicely. There's good amount of detail here. Very specific attention to detail. It feels a lot more sturdy than maybe I would have expected it to, which is really good. It's easy to hold on to this, to operate this and swoosh this around. There's not a ton of clearance for the wing area, so my instinct is to like hold it, you know, on the top here like that, but my thumb will likely get in the way, so it's better to kind of hold it from maybe like this, so that we can get this to spin around without my fingers getting it in the way. There are different ways to hold it. This is the one that I found to be probably best for me, but I did experiment with it a little bit. You can see even like here, there's a pretty minimal gap throughout there, which is very nicely done. This does have, you know, a very thin kind of footprint for when it lands, and so we have these small little flaps that we fold out to kind of get a Y there, and when those are out, you can't rotate this, but we can put it back sort of like that. We will flip those out, and then we can set this down, and it balances out. If those are angled like backwards a little bit, something like this, it's going to be a little bit too forward heavy, and it's going to lean forward like that and not be super stable. So we do want to make sure we extend those all the way forward, and then we can set this down and not worry about it too much, which is great to see. Actually, from there, I'm going to move on to the front because it's connected. It is sort of the final thing that you build, and then I'll talk about the wing assembly here. This is a printed canopy piece. Printing is okay. It's okay. They get pretty close to the edge here. There is some good detail. I don't know if that's supposed to be white or if it's supposed to be gray. If it's supposed to be gray, I think they did a fine job. If it's supposed to be white, there's not other white on the ship really to compare it to, so they get a pass for that. We do have a spot for one figure up here. Ahsoka can be operating this. We have the printed kind of dash in there as well, so we can see what it looks like with them inside, and they don't get studded in, but they have the friction kind of thing between the feet. we can close that up and don't have to take them off. They're not even leaning that far back. I mean, sometimes Lego Star Wars ships and Lego cars and Lego things and of all sorts of stuff, we have to lean the characters very far back, which doesn't look right. Actually, this one feels about right. It's not leaning like crazy far back, and we can still close this and they still look normal kind of as they're sitting in there. Other than that, there's not a ton of detail up here. It is a nice build. It does have kind of, you know, it looks fine from the side and potentially from the underside, although we just see the underside of plates there. Good details, not a ton of studs visible on that, but generally this set does have a lot of studs visible, which I am okay with. In the parts that don't have them, it works. In the parts where they exist, it works as well. So we can have them up there. We can have accessories back here. There is no place for any other minifigure to be a passenger of the T-6 Jedi Shuttle here. So I don't know in the show or historically if other characters are able to fit in these. Just because of the scale that we're working on, it makes it a little bit difficult, but that is something to consider. We do have the 3 characters who don't have a spot to come along for a ride in this ship. I suppose other ones could operate it. Maybe. I don't know if Huang or Merrick fit in the cockpit super well. I haven't tested that at all, but this is Ahsoka's ship, so we have them in there, and we have these other characters as well. And then the sort of big thing here is the wings. So it's done in 2 sections. You do one over here, kind of combine them together. There's a little bit of a build to put them on top. There's also a sort of sub-assembly underneath that connects those together. Speaking of underneath, this is what it looks like underneath. And the center here, the fuselage area, looks great underneath. Like I said, it looks great all the way around. The issue is, one of the issues is this side, the top or the side, depending on what orientation this is in, is detailed, and it has the stickers, of course. It's also got this wonderful brick built, tile built, plate built color blocking throughout here. There is little details, not necessarily greebling, but little things going on which are nicely color blocked, and just generally this is really good. Now in my mind, the underside or the other side, if it's kind of in this orientation, would be, very much the same. And I think in the show and canonically in Star Wars, that is kind of the case. Now, ultimately, these are not especially thick. They are about, 3 plates stacked together at the most, 4. And then once you get to the center, it gets a little bit bigger. But, 3 or 4 plates for most of this there. And so we have a situation where, it can be like this, especially when it's landing. It can fly like this, and looking at it from this side looks really great. Or if we flip it over and look at it from this side, it looks really great. But if we were flying this and then we looked at it from that side, it looks a fair amount worse. Now, because the nature of this, we can rotate it again, so this side is visible, and now this side is visible over here. It's flying, that side's visible. It's flying this way, that, whatever it is. But there is a unfriendly angle here, and I don't know what the answer is. If they wanted to add a little bit of thickness or decided that they could, we could do like an or like bottom of a plate kind of patterning on the bottom that would sort of mirror this. I think I would have liked that. It wouldn't have added too much thickness. It would have been similar to this section here, kind of having that go across. I don't know how much better that would be. Reality is, on the top, we're seeing, there's a good amount of tile. There's some different stuff, some stickers, but there's the color blocking, and then, the mix of tiles and plates is really nice. We are seeing a lot of studs up on these wings here, which I don't mind. It's Lego. Seeing a bunch of what I guess sometimes they're called anti-studs, but like the bottom of plates is just not, or I haven't seen it be used in the same way as like studs. This is not as visually appealing to me. Maybe it's because I'm not used to it. Maybe it's because it's just not. There's something about this that doesn't look very good. And Lego generally does a pretty good job of like avoiding having a ton of the underside of plates be visible. It's possible that for this set that was unavoidable, and I can forgive that. There's just not great ways to do stud reversals, maybe in that are like structurally sound for this type of thing within this thickness of the wing, and I understand that. Maybe even if they did add some color here of that kind of dark reddish brown kind of color, or dark red maybe throughout here, maybe that wouldn't have made it look any better because we would still be seeing the underside of plates. They do have the inverted tiles, but they don't make like angled inverted tiles, at least up until now. But what we could do is use inverted tiles, mix it up between the flat ones, the round ones that are kind of convex, and then also the round ones that are flat. And then we could also sprinkle in some of these 2x2 angled plates throughout. And I think that would actually be pretty good. So then you do have a breakup of just the underside of plates mixed in with some of those inverted tile pieces. I think there's a real possibility that could be done and could work. Now, how much extra pieces does that add to this? I don't think that many that it would like, okay, well now we're looking at $100 retail price set. I mean, I actually think that this set is already a little bit overpriced. So if they did do that back here, I maybe would have been a little bit more forgiving on the apparent value at the MSRP price. So this isn't just a problem for me. I know other people have talked about this. I think it could be done better, but we are limited a little bit with what is possible with the Lego system here. And it feels sort of glaring when looking at it, especially because we have one side that's like very well done and one side that is not as well done. Other than that, I think this looks, for the most part, looks very, very good and appropriate, and like it has been shown at different points, but I'm just used to it being symmetrical, more than it is in this iteration. I think the other one maybe had problems with that too, but I didn't build that one, so I'm not 100% sure. I think, from this side and from, having it like this, it looks great. But the underside of the wing kind of assembly is not my favorite and could be improved on. That's kind of everything here. A couple like last little features besides like the storage. Of course, we have stud shooters up here. They're integrated pretty well. They shoot these kind of translucent green studs there. So those are up front. There's 2 loaded in there. There's 4 extras, and then there's of course 1 more extra in the extra pieces. There's actually, the sticker sheet is pretty reasonable for this, even though that these are big. They're on, they're rectangular on, big panel pieces, which is fine. The other stickers are not a problem to put on at all, and they look good. I also frankly think this looks fine without these stickers. They add a little bit to the blocking of the color blocking and sort of the pattern here, but not like a crucial amount. The ones on the sides of these circles don't actually add that much to me, and these, those are nice, not difficult to put on at all. They're like a nice detail there, but not needed as well. So I think there's a case to be made that if someone really dislikes stickers, that this could be perfectly fine without these stickers. I didn't have it with these stickers on for a long time until I recorded this review portion. I think like in building in the center here, the fuselage is genuinely like pretty impressive and very fun. and the end result looks fantastic. Like I am a big fan of this and the experience of putting it together. I think, you know, what they've done to make this possible, to like have this rotate freely separate from the wings, or the wings separate from kind of the center bit here, is a real achievement. We do get kind of this piece, this sort of big gear there that is visible, and we have the gray piece inside, and then some Technic stuff going through there that allows that to kind of rotate. That doesn't feel like a problem to me. If that's the piece that allows them to do this, then good on them. Even if it's not, you know, those sort of teeth of the gear aren't what it normally looks like. Like I think this is really good. Underside's not great. I think the figures are very good. You get 4 figures that are printed all the way through, like very nicely produced, really detailed, printed accessories, all of that good stuff. So I think the figures are very good. I'll show the extra pieces because you do get some. We do get extras of the like visors and antennas. We use one for Sabine Wren's helmet here, and those come in like a prepackaged bag. The other ones we get are your 1x1s, your studs, your tiles, the 1x2 rounded tile there without the stud, and yeah, all your small pieces, a little bit of Technic pins, the trigger piece for the stud or tile launcher, all of that good stuff. So not a ton of extra pieces here, and this set is, wow. Okay, I don't know. Let me just also say, you know, this little contraption that holds the wrench, easy enough to pop this out if it needed to be. It just goes in there on a jumper right here. It's a little bit tough to see that jumper in there, but so that like studs in there very easily, and that can be removed or put back in or whatever, which is maybe another little feature here. I'm thinking this is interesting to me. I don't know why this is the case. The Lego.com website says that this set is 601 pieces, but my box says 599. So there's like a 2-piece discrepancy there. And then, you know, if you look at Bricklink or some of those other websites, sometimes they will like list the pieces for the minifigures as like separate. So this set might only have 5, I don't know, 50 or 520 or whatever it is, because if you count like the accessories and the hair pieces and the headpiece and the legs and the this and the that and the other thing, those pieces, those separate pieces that make up the minifigures are typically included in the listed on the box piece count, but because minifigures are sort of their own thing, on other websites like Bricklink and Brick Owl, I think, and other places, you might see a piece count that is different, but you have to remember to add these in. I don't know why this says 601 pieces on the website and 599 on the box. Could be that it is 601 and the box was printed with the wrong thing. I don't know if that got corrected. It's 2 pieces. It's not a big deal, but it is. And I have my conspiracy about this. It is a difference because it falls right on the like 100-piece break. So instead of being 599 pieces, it's listed as 601 pieces. Again, it's only 2 pieces difference, but like being in the 500s versus being in the 600s might make some people like look at it different. It's sort of like there's these natural kind of steps there. It's not really rational necessarily because they are so similar in piece count, but for like a marketing standpoint, I could see a case to be made that they wanted it, you know, it's better to be at the, you know, slightly over 600 than slightly under 600. And I don't know which one is true or if they're both true, depending on how they're counting this stuff. I don't want Lego to like sort of fudge the numbers, but it's 2 pieces, whatever the issue is, whether it's a marketing thing or if there was just genuinely a problem. I mean, when they're designing a set, they could also very easily be like, oh, well, let's put 2 tiles on there, so instead of $5.99 it's $6.01 or whatever. Let's give them two more extra of the ammunition for these stud shooters, so that we move up. I don't know if that's really in the conversation when budgets and piece budgets are sort of developed for the Lego group in combination with its brand partners and everything like that. So between 599 and 601 pieces, the retail price is $80. I paid, what did I pay? 56 or 50 something like, I think 56, which is 30% off. 20% off would be like $16 off. I had it for $24 off, which is 30%. $56 for 599 pieces or 601 pieces feels really great. There are some bigger pieces in here, these big panel pieces and everything, and the overall size of this is really good. The building is really good, plus the minifigures are very, very well done. Potentially some of them are, I don't know if Professor Huang is in other sets. I don't know if this Merrick is in other sets. Different versions of Sabine, different versions of Ahsoka are out there. This might be a relatively generic Ahsoka, but it is very high quality. So I like that. That is certainly a factor as well. That is not enough to make this an $80 set. I think, the reality is $70 would have been easier to stomach. $60 would have been pretty right on the money. Because of the discount I got, I paid under that. 56, yeah, for $56 this set feels pretty good. There is a lot here. This is heavy, this is big, a lot of visual weight here, a lot of genuine building. Some really very competent designing and building techniques went into this that I appreciate, sometimes more than a lot of other stuff. I think the end result generally looks good. It's a shame about the bottom. If we're going to price this at $80 because we got 4 figures and they're printed all the way through, and it's a licensing, it's a Star Wars set, it's a Disney, it's a this, it's a that. Would I be satisfied with this at $80 if the underside of the wings were a little bit better? Maybe. I don't know how much that adds, but if there was some way to do something that would make this more kind of the same on the top and bottom or side to side, and that made the, obviously that would increase the piece count, I might say, yeah, $80 makes sense, even if that only makes it 650 or 675 pieces or 700 pieces, then at $80 maybe we're in the conversation a little bit closer to what I would imagine. I don't know if this is 2023 or 2024. Maybe I want to say 2024, but it could have been out for longer than that. I think this is overpriced. I think Lego is expensive, always been expensive, it will be expensive. Hopefully, people can get stuff on deals. I think 20% is usually pretty good. 20% off most sets gets me down to about what I wish that they were, the MSRP of. This one is slightly an outlier, slightly not. It's really close. I'm sure there are some people who think this is good value. I'm so. I think $56 for it, which is what I paid, is like really good, all things considered. If this was $50, $55, $60 retail, I would say, yeah, this is a good value set. I would say that, but that is it's a pretty big discount, and Lego and Disney, need to get their money. And I don't know how well this sold. I don't know if it sold more because of specific figures that are in here or what. because I found it on such a steep discount. Maybe that indicates to me that it didn't sell especially well, but I can't really comment on that. I don't know how it'll do in retirement. I am just that's not in my general like scope of this sort of stuff. Overpriced. I got a good deal. Happy to have talked about it finally. I think this is really cool. I'm trying to be very like, not verbose, but I want to be like clear how fun I thought the build was for this and how good I think portions of it are, which is like very, very good. Very, very good, on par with some like the better Lego building. So I'm very pleased with how this looks and with the figures. Wish the price was a little bit better as far as MSRP, and I think that is it. That's enough of me saying the price should be better and I like it. So great. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more Lego Star Wars, and then tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count, tons of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. Stuff helps me a lot. If you wanted to support this channel in a different way, if you want to give money to the channel, you can if you would like. I don't get any sets for free, except, maybe a couple times I've had a viewer of the channel send something, but for the most part I buy these sets with my own money, and so I'm conscious of trying to get deals for these things. So if you want to support the channel because you like what I do here, you get some value out of it, it's entertaining or it's informative or it's relaxing or whatever, you just watch the videos. If you do and you feel compelled to support the channel in a more direct way, I guess, you can give money to the channel. Membership, supers, and thanks on YouTube. There's a Patreon, patreon.com/SoBricks. There'll be some affiliate links in the description. Link to buy this from a major online retailer that at no additional cost to you will earn me like a little bit of a small commission. All that adds up. There'll also be a link to just buy like general Lego stuff from that retailer, and again, you can click that link, no additional cost to you, and I might get a kickback should you buy something, so that is appreciated. Maybe consider checking that out, and I think that is it. So with all that said, until next time, thanks, bye.